Assalamualaikum and hi to my lecturer, Sir Nizan and my fellow friends. Today we would like to present about one of the great leaders, namely Margaret Thatcher. Who is Margaret Thatcher? Margaret Thatcher is the first and only woman in British politics to become Prime Minister in late 70s and 90s. While active in politics, Margaret Thatcher was nicknamed the Iron Lady. It was due to her strong leadership and character. Thatcher is known as a tough and outspoken figure implementing radical reforms in United Kingdom. In fact, the policies she created were branded Thatcherism, which promotes competition, private ownership, and self-reliance. Besides, under Thatcher's leadership too, Britain went to war with Argentina over the Falklands Islands in 1982, and she managed to defend the Falklands. After 11 years as Prime Minister, she finally decided to resign in November 1990. Margaret Thatcher was the longest-serving Prime Minister in the country's history and was well known as an autocratic leader. It is in her nature to strive for power and authority, taking charge of everything and completely control decision-making. Although this style is generally considered negative in democracies, it is the most appropriate type of leadership in certain situations. Next, we move to her trait in leadership. The first is determination. What is remarkable about her is not in her gender, but in her courage and determination. Her motto became "The lady is not for turning." She is determined to take over the trade union and push her capitalists into a country mired in stagnant and roaring inflation. Margaret Thatcher's determination enabled her to set goals and achieve them, including her main goal of reducing the influence of trade union. Second is confidence. Conviction politics is a method of government used by Thatcher that is guided by her own value. Thatcher's confidence can be seen in her success in transforming UK, which she sees trapped in increasingly paralysed socialism, changing union/government bureaucracy, cutting social safety net, and privatising industry that then struggled or sank without public subsidies. Although her confidence made everyone crazy, but Thatcher was unforgettable Prime Minister for having saved UK. Last but not least is brave. Margaret Thatcher was a very brave woman because during her time as Prime Minister, she had taken various actions to address problems within and outside the United Kingdom, as she governed the country when the country's economy was in a chronic state. Moreover, Margaret Thatcher was brave and insisted on capturing the Falklands Islands captured by Argentina because she considered it her responsibility to protect the countries. Okay, I give the next slide to my friends.
My name is FADHILAH AZAMAN 2200400. Margaret Thatcher have a few leadership values. The first is Margaret Thatcher had a high passion for achieving goals in her life. One of her goals was to get a place in the British Parliament building. There were many obstacles that she faced to become a politician because every opinion given was looked down upon by other politicians who at that time were still dominated by men. But with the support of her husband, she managed to climb the political ladder to serve as Prime Minister. She had a high passion for changing his country's policies for the better as Prime Minister. This passion enabled her to fight for many important policies and give her the courage to engage in difficult battles. The second value is responsibility for all decisions and action taken. She was always careful with every action taken so that she would not regret for what she did. She studied the problem closely in order to achieve the best possible analysis and take the best decision, considering all available information. For example, she was not given introspection and always pragmatic in its approach to the decision made. When she sees something wrong or heading in the wrong direction, she goes ahead and do it by herself. This shows that she is responsible for what happened around her to ensure that all measures taken are correct and to generate positive results in the end. Another value of leadership shown by Margaret Thatcher is integrity, which demonstrated by moral courage, ethical strength, and trustworthiness, keeping promise and fulfilling expectation. As a leader, one of the hardest things to do is do the right thing. This is because nowadays it is easier for leaders to do popular things to get a lot of support from the people without thinking about whether the things they are doing are right or not. Great leaders like Thatcher have credibility of imaginative, passion, and self-assurance to make a certain impact.
I am IZYAN BINTI JAMAL 2200404. I will present about the principle of leadership believed by Margaret Thatcher. The first principle of leadership is avoiding listening to bad counsel from individuals who didn't share her vision. Margaret Thatcher had acute insight in her response to crises confronting her nation and the world, while her competitors misinterpret or ignore essential elements of her strategy. Her abilities were not listening, confidence, and determination which gave her the upper hand over her opponents during her rapid climb to prominence. Margaret Thatcher's capacity to listen was a key source of debate throughout her presidency. For example, there are two standards of progressive politics in which leftists often praise for the freedom of thought and refusal to compromise with the current quo. Instead, Thatcher's conservative attitude makes her liable to punishment. Thus, Margaret Thatcher saw out citizens and their most pressing problems since the beginning of her career. This has been the case since she became the first Prime Minister to assign a focus group aimed at the middle class to listen to the people. Next, another principle of leadership is focus on change. When Margaret Thatcher won the general election in 1979, she took over as Prime Minister of a chaotic country. She wants to make a change by outlining a political strategy that will avoid pay rises and government spending. For example, the policy of home ownership, share ownership, and lack of governance led to an increase in home ownership rates. In addition, she advocated the privatization of state-owned industries such as British Airways, minimum taxes, and monetary economic strategies as ways to control inflation. As a result, Margaret Thatcher changed not only the Conservative Party but also British society as a whole. Thirdly, Margaret Thatcher was a person who knew herself and always strived to improve herself is another principle of leadership. Margaret Thatcher worked tirelessly to improve herself. As a school student, she received a scholarship to high school and became a women's leader. Later, as a university student, she got another scholarship to Oxford as well as became president of the Conservative Association at the university. In the 1950 and 1951 elections, she was the youngest and the only woman candidate of the Conservative Party before being elected to the secure Conservative seat in Finchley in 1959. She was sometimes eager to speak in public or meet people important in her early career, but she never showed it. Her tendency to dominate conversations or interviews in a way that has been achieved by some other politicians may have overshadowed the anxiety to some degree. As a result, she is a highly confident and self-aware individual, which makes her a successful female leader in achieving her goals. As conclusion, Margaret Thatcher's political career was more successful than many other Western leaders. In her reign as Prime Minister, the development of participation can be seen personally not only in the political decision-making process, but also in its implementation and foreign policy. Margaret Thatcher's notable accomplishments including changing the ownership of large corporations, allowing ordinary people to buy council houses, own shares and stock, and a desire to run their own companies, as well as her defense of the Falkland Islands. She had a level of political honesty rarely seen by a politician. Her hard work and kind attitude towards employees, as well as her honesty, ambitious spirit, and exceptional speech gift, helped her become the strongest woman in the political world at the time. As a result, Margaret Thatcher is considered one of the most influential and powerful leaders in world history. I think that's all from us. Thank you.